Hello, I'm FPX Toycat, and good news everybody, the Armoured Paws update is now here. This is the last minor update for 1.20, and it's available for all Bedrock platforms right now, and unlike most minor updates, which bring a few features and then mostly bug fixes, this update has the bug fixes, which are interesting in their own right, but it also has a brand new mob, it has 8 brand new mob variants, and a whole new way to customize things, which is absolutely incredible, and today we'll dive into all of those things, and the weird experimental things in this, the Big Salmon Edition. With that said though, let's jump into the brand new features, because you might know that the mob vote winner from last year has officially been added to Minecraft. The armadillo is in fact here, and they have quite a few fun features. The first of those being they spawn in Badlands, they drop scutes periodically, but also can be brushed if you want to get some, although again, just hanging around them will get you some too. They also can be led and bred with spider eyes, so if I grab some right here, I'll attract the attention of any nearby armadillos, which will run away if I sprint nearby them. Very, very cute animations, by the way, and interestingly, I can breed them just like this too. They'll roll up when they're hurt, or when other players or undead mobs are sprinting, or when they're on a mount. So if I've got a horse right here, the exact same thing will happen. I'll terrify all of the armadillos that aren't in boats. When they're in boats, the rules seem to be a little bit different, which is entirely understandable, or entirely not understandable, depending on your perspective. But yes, that means we have baby armadillos, and this is the cutest and perhaps most fully featured mob vote winner we've had in a very long time, because it doesn't just come by itself, it brings in the ability to get wolf armor, because wolf armor is crafted from the armadillo scutes. When you have armadillo scutes, you can take them together just like so in this weird almost H formation to make some wolf armor, and wolf armor itself is useful enough. It allows wolves to absorb a lot more damage, unless it is from drowning, freezing, suffocating magic, forms, the wither effect, the void, entity cramming / kill, or from the warden's chronically charged shriek. You know, I don't know how often a warden's going to attack a dog, but keep in mind, outside of those situations, wolf armor will give you a big buff to your wolf's effective health, which is really, really great. This wolf armor can also be dyed using cauldron, so I can make black wolf armor, or red wolf armor, or yellow wolf armor, or indeed you can mix them together in fun ways too. It has to be mixed in the cauldron, not outside of it, and then you can throw this wolf armor onto a wolf if you really want to. How absolutely wonderful. 16 brand new wolf armor colors is what I would say is incredible if that was the number that was coming, but actually it's something more like 16 million, because you can mix as many times as you like. So wolf customization is insane in this update. And oh yeah, by the way, it's not just the fact that that's in here, we also have 8 brand new wolves. If you go into an old growth pine biome, you'll find black wolves. Go into an old growth spruce biome and you'll find the chestnut wolf. Honestly, there should be a chestnut biome though, right? The ashen wolf spawns in the snowy taiga, the rusty wolf spawns in the sparse jungle. Our current wolf will just be found, the OG will be found in the taiga. Meanwhile, you can find the snowy wolf in the grove, the striped wolf in the wooded badlands, and then the spotted wolf in the savannah and the woods wolf in the forest. This is going to be the new default wolf, if you will, and honestly, it makes a lot more sense to look like this than to look like this. Although I would have to question at this point, why is it that Mojang has this big thing about like, oh, we don't want to encourage animal cruelty, but the only animals in Minecraft that are tameable, in real life that are tameable, the cat and the fox are, only one of those is tameable in Minecraft, and then there's a animal which is tameable in Minecraft, which you cannot just tame with wolves, with bones in real life. Do not try to tame one of these guys. It might go poorly for you, but that's a point for a different time. I'm glad that wolves had this big update, but it's not the only thing that happened in 1.2080, which, by the way, we should mention is the last update in 1.20. After this will be 1.21, aside from Hox fixes, of course. But with that said, we can now quickly dive into the rest of this update with these giant lily pads, which I think are a lot of fun. So first things first, the new death screen is no longer experimental. Again, this is for Bedrock, so you won't be experiencing this death screen on Java. I quite like it though, I think it's handy. Also notably is the fact that in this update, by the way, despite the new death screen and despite all of the new features, this does not bring in hardcore in any form. We'll talk about that more later though when we get to experimental features, because there is a whole set of that in here. But next up we have missing texture is now a dirt block with a brown question mark, which is an interesting one to say the least. We also have the maximum render distance on Xbox Series X/S increased from 28 to 36 chunks. I am really really glad that Mojang is putting in this care for the Xbox One or the Xbox Series consoles, because I know a lot of you watching this video will be playing Minecraft on a console. It feels so often like they ignore us on a console. I mean, just minor rant here aside, I feel like Mojang really does look at the console editions and say, yeah, we'll get round to that at some point. Despite all the work they put into moving it to Bedrock, they thought that was enough work. But ultimately, I think that as a community, we actually need to look at it and say, well, the fact that they put the effort into moving us to Bedrock is why they should put in the effort like this. I'm glad they did, and I hope they continue that for other platforms. Next up, fully grown Cocoa Pods always drop free chockies. Those are cocoa beans for non-British enabled people, which is really, really cool. It means that instead of going through all the effort of growing one of these and potentially getting less drops, you'll always get a full free now. Also, loading tips now show for longer before moving on to the next one. They are putting a lot of work into making sure that Minecraft can kind of intuitively teach you things, which is why we have new loading tips that came in the last update, and now they're making sure they show for a bit longer, because especially for new players, when they're giving you those beginning tips, they need to make sure you're actually going to see them if you're reading. Speaking of reading, feedback button has been moved from the title screen to general settings, so if you want to hit feedback, you don't go to the main menu, you go to settings and then general, and then I don't see it, I'll be honest with you. Well, that's a funny line on the changelog, isn't it? Speaking of funny lines on the changelog, you might appreciate that shields can now partially block damage from Guardian and Elder Guardian laser attacks. This is going to be a hard one to show off, but we'll do our very best anyway. We'll throw away our cocoa beans and our wolf armor and our new armadillo scutes so that I can grab a Guardian, and oh no, he's going to attack me. Better whip out my shield and use my Bedrock way of using this, which is to crouch. And now I can show you something which I'll tell you I've appreciated after playing hardcore in the 1.21 previews. It is nice to have some way to avoid some amount of the damage on this. Half a heart is a huge benefit, and I do have to say, I think blocking the attack altogether wouldn't be fair, but bringing it down a lot does help to improve the value of the shield. I still think it's insanely OP personally, but you know what? There's a lot of things that are OP. Just like if you're a creative player, if you use commands, they've split up the IDs of oak, spruce, birch, jungle, acacia, and dark oak saplings, as well as the block IDs for coral fan variants. What this effectively means is if you're using commands to say set block, and then you want to set it to a sapling, which I think is a bit of a confusing one, you can now set the specific sapling rather than having to type sapling and then metadata rather, which is really, really handy. I guess metadating would be if you wanted to date in VR something. You know, anyway, with that said, I guess the important thing here is that holding the jump button while swimming at the surface no longer causes the player to lose oxygen. This is such an annoying bug. You'd be swimming in the water and then you would be at the surface, but your head would be underneath it, causing you to drown even though you're at the top. Really, really big fan of them fixing that one. We also have horses and boats no longer slide to unexpected previous locations upon mounting or dismounting. That is one that has been happening for a while that I didn't even know it was a weird bug. Speaking of weird bugs, this is something that has probably been in the game for a while, but I noticed it at the same time my editors did, which is when you move something from a chest to your inventory, there's this nice animation. If you can't notice it, I'll zoom in on the inventory right now. Look at me moving something from my inventory to the chest. It's very, very subtle, but Minecraft Bedrock is filled with these unique little animations, like the chest inventory coming up and coming down like that. I think they are subtle improvements, but I also think they're the tiniest bit weird. I think this is just like when you play Minecraft a lot or play any game a lot, you start to notice these small things and go, it's not what I'm used to. But personally, I think it's fine and even maybe good. Buckets can now once again pick up lava immediately after being placed to match the behavior of picking up a water bucket. This was such an annoying bug. You had to place it, wait 3 seconds, and then scoop it up. I don't know why fluids are so broken in Minecraft Bedrock, because still to this day, it's been 7 years at least since I started playing Bedrock full-time in 2016. You still cannot pick up water while you're in water. You have to leave the water and then pick it up. I'm glad they're fixing these minor, placement issues, but why is it that I have to be outside of a water source to break a water source? I just don't get it. Just like how I don't get the fact that there is there was a weird bug with oak, spruce, birch, jungle, acacia, and dark oak slabs being able to not being turned into double slabs. They previously placed like this rather than like this. Really nice to see that change. And finally, foxes are less likely to spawn in the grove biome, and rabbits are more likely to spawn. So if you're in a grove biome, which is one that looks like this, you'll find fewer foxes and more rabbits, which is good, because in real life we can tame actually both of those things, but not in Minecraft. You know, the only thing that's worth knowing about now is the fact that experimental features have in fact come here. So the one big notable exception, like I mentioned, is hardcore, but basically everything else in 1.21 now, besides mace enchantments, can now be played with via this experimental feature. So if you go into a brand new world and you hit this toggle, you can basically play an early version of 1.21 that hasn't been fully bug tested, and that includes, on top of everything we've seen before, the brand new armor trims. That includes the brand new banner patterns. That includes the heavy core, the breeze rod, and the mace, which is wonderful. And that also, interestingly, includes the brand new pot shards. And even better than that is the fact that if you've got compasses, if you've got emeralds, and if you've got a villager with experimental turned on, you can now trade for a trial chamber map. I wonder where my nearest one is. Let's buy one and find out. By the way, he's meant to ask for 9 emeralds, but clearly he asked for 13. Inflation has been crazy since I sung Savannah all the way back then, huh? Anyway, with that said, I want to quickly mention that the Trial Chambers map is a really cool feature. I still don't think it's working fully correctly, but that's something that they will be fixing between now and 1.21. Because as great as this update is, it has to be said that I think a lot of people are questioning, why would Minecraft bring out quite a fully featured update with all of the brand new armadillo scutes and stuff like that, if they know for a fact that they're about to bring out an even bigger one? And I kind of see this as like the amuse-bouche of Minecraft updates. It's a nice small one before we get the very, very big one. And so 1.20.80 is here to give you some new features, just to tide you over, to keep you interested, while they wait for the big Trial Chamber update, which is of course coming with the next big one. This is the last minor update video I'll therefore be doing until presumably at least August. However, the whole minor, there's kind of free fixes of types of Minecraft update, minor, major, and bug fixes. I do expect that we'll see some bug fix updates soon after 1.21, and I imagine we'll see 1.21.10 in the first couple months after it's released, maybe even sooner. Wait, look at that. Why is the dog poking through the wall like that? But yeah, just for now, keep in mind that we are now on the road to 1.21, and that means the return of quite a few big things, including big update questions and the like, and so get ready for a fun season of content on the channel. Speaking of season of content, if you did enjoy this video, please do like it and let me know. Consider subscribing if you really liked it, and also, if you want to support the channel, one of the best ways is with the HelloFresh link I'll leave down below. Still, it is one of the best ways that you can spend. If you just get a single box, you support the channel by about 4 times as much as that box costs you. So it's a great way if you are looking to get the fun benefits of home cooking while also supporting this channel. With that said though, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Check my microphone was working. It was.